The Maine Business Show is proudly presented by Poland Spring.
At Poland Spring, we've called Maine home since 1845 and are proud to be part of the community. Over the past 2 decades, investing more than $12 million in the place that we call home. Poland Spring, 100% natural spring water.
This week on the Maine Business Show, we'll visit the headquarters of WEX. It's Maine-based, but its reach is global. We'll see what Chinbro is building these days, a lot more than you may realize. What are fashionable men wearing? A Portland haberdasher has all the answers. And there are big changes coming to the Portland Museum of Art. All that and more on the Maine Business Show coming right up. Welcome to the Maine Business Show. I'm your host, Quincy Hentzel. This week, we're visiting the relatively new but already iconic international headquarters of WEX. Sitting at the edge of Casco Bay, WEX headquarters is the center of a global business with more than 6,000 employees, many of whom are here in Maine. We're joined by WEX Chair and CEO, Melissa Smith. Melissa, thanks for joining us today and letting us host our show here in your beautiful building.
Thank you so much for being here. I love the word iconic.
So WEX is a financial technology company whose purpose is simplifying the business of running a business. Tell me what that means.
Sure. So we've been around since 1983, which is incredible. Our core focus is making sure that we're stripping out the things that create complexity for our customers. And we have more than 800,000 customers. In the beginning, and many people in New England would know us for the fuel card products that we originally had. So you may still be using that in order to pay for your fuel. We've added on to that capability in order to make sure that we're thinking about different industry verticals. We're focused in mobility, we're focused in corporate payments, and we're focused in benefits. And so if you're, as a consumer, have an HSA card or an FSA card, we actually provide the technology in the background to that for more than 50% of the Fortune 1000. We work with 9 of the 10 largest oil companies in our mobility products, and we work with 8 of the 10 largest online travel agencies in the world with our corporate payments products.
So what does it mean to you to have achieved this level of success in Maine?
Well, first of all, I don't hold it against you that you're from Illinois. I love the fact that you have moved to Maine. You've made it better. And, there's many pinch me moments. I'm sure you feel that in life. And, I start with the fact and I end with the fact that I wake up every day and I work with amazing people and I get to do something that is meaningful. We are unstoppable when we're focused on something and we feel like we can do anything. Not that we have to be everything, but where we're focused, we are really fierce. We are passionate problem solvers. And I love the fact that we get to do that in the beautiful place that we're in right here in Portland, Maine.
Couldn't agree more. We are so lucky to have kept you here in Maine. We're so lucky to have you here leading this global international company based right here in downtown Portland, Maine. And I want to thank you for being on the show, and I hope you come back to see us again soon.
Thank you for being here. It's been great. Thank you. I love having you here.
Thank you. As I mentioned, we're in the relatively new WEX building on the Portland waterfront, and it's safe to say that without our next guest, we would not be sitting here today. Welcome to Richard Bruscia, Executive Vice President at Chinbro Corporation, a Maine-based national construction and construction services company, and the one that built this building. Richard, welcome.
It's great to be here today.
Now, I think I can speak for everyone who has been in this building that the WEX headquarters is just absolutely stunning, right on Casco Bay, and this must be a project that Chinbro is so proud of.
We are extremely proud of the project, but more importantly, it took a team effort. Without the opportunity from WEX, this would never happen. So between the architect and the construction and the owner, this all pulled it together for a great opportunity for us, but also for the community in Portland.
Now, Chinbro was founded by the Chinquette brothers, Ken, Bud, Carl, and Chuck, about 74 years ago. So is the company different now today?
What we like to say is the company is the same. The core principles that the brothers had instilled in the company itself we carry that forward to the next generation and the future generations. It's very important to us to make sure that people understand it's all about the people for us, taking care of the team members, making sure they have opportunity. Now, the services we provide have grown drastically from what we do build, what we do provide for services, as well as where we provide for services.
Now, most people know the name Chimbro, but they probably don't know everything the company does. Tell us a little bit about that.
Chimbro is a well-known name, especially in the Northeast and in Maine. And a lot of things they really correlate what we do is with infrastructure, heavy industrial type projects. But we do a lot more than that now. We provide services for customers in vertical construction, as well as oil and gas in various parts of the country.
It's incredibly diverse.
It is. That diversity, we think is our strength. And being able to provide not just having good financial stability, but also to be able to provide opportunity for our people. When someone gets accustomed to building buildings and they want to explore a different area of the country, we have that opportunity. When we have people that want to explore, young people want to say, I like vertical construction, but I want to do some infrastructure type work, we have that opportunity. It's all about how do we provide that opportunity, but also provide the best services we can for our customers. And that diversity is strength. What we like to say is we're one team, and being one team gives infinite possibilities. And providing that for our team members translates in services that we can provide that are top-notch with our customers. And we're very proud of that.
Richard, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great to talk to you, and I'm so happy we were able to interview here at WEX, one of Chimbro's most incredible projects.
We're happy to be here, and thank you for asking.
Thank you. When we come back, a store for men who know fashion, and especially for those who don't. Welcome back to the Maine Business Show. There's an institution in Portland for men who know how to dress well, and for those who don't know but want to learn. Peter Rennie's Fashions has been a fixture in the Old Port for 48 years, and it's still going strong.
Hi, I'm Ninu, and my family has owned Peter Rennie's Fashions for almost 50 years. We started it back in 1975, my father did. My dad's mission was always to make sure people looked good and felt good. He loved working with clients. He loved being able to really showcase your personality and your style through clothing. Our customers are everyone. People who are in the government sector, people who are in corporate America, to people who are getting married, or even people who are retired. Dressing helps us showcase our creativity. And so we're just here to kind of help foster that and go from there. We get men who come in by themselves, who are either going for a new job interview, who just want to update their wardrobe. We also have wives that come in with their husbands, or wives that come in with their partners in crime, where we kind of listen to what they're looking for. We kind of also ask them those questions, those key questions, which is like, who's your audience? You don't need a lot of pieces, just a few key pieces that make sense. And then we kind of have fun with that. Then you add in the shirts and the ties and the handkerchiefs. That's all you need. Maine's an amazing place to do business in. We get to be a part of this community. We get to be a part of people's stories, people's lives. We get to work with our clients and get to be part of that story. For us, it's not about doing the advertising or the marketing or any of those things. All of our business comes from word of mouth. It's how we treat people. We want people to feel good, feel comfortable with us, to feel amazing. That's important to us.
There have been many iterations of the Portland Museum of Art across its 140 years, and with its campus unification project underway, it's about to enter another. The nonprofit museum is on the precipice of becoming bigger, bolder, and more open than ever. To help us learn more about the future of the museum is Graham Kennedy, Creative Director and Director of Public Relations for the museum. Graham, welcome to the Maine Business Show.
Thanks, it's a pleasure to be here.
So we're a show about business, so we often like to talk about the business side of arts organizations in our state. And like I mentioned, you are undergoing a pretty expansive campus unification project. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and the economic benefits that's going to bring to the region?
Sure. So we're really excited about this project. We call it the PMA Blueprint. And it's really because we believe that this is the blueprint not just for the museum, but for the entire region. The ramifications that a cultural destination can have at this scale across Portland, Maine, and even the Northeast as a whole is quite remarkable. So the main reason why we're doing this project is we want to make sure that we have more art for our communities, we want to have free access and more engagement with our communities, and we also want to make sure that we have a sustainable place in Maine for generations to come. So really the main aspect of this project is a paradigm shift in the arts. And that paradigm shift is about being a leader in the region, a keystone for our communities, and a catalyst for our economy. So on the economic side, we're looking to double our impact across the board. Sales, jobs created, and everything like that. It's really quite powerful what we believe this project will do. So one of the most exciting aspects of this project is that the building is being proposed to be built out of mass timber. Mass timber is a really sustainable way to create buildings using glue and laminated cross timber. Unfortunately, there's not that many places that do it. So there are plants in Austria, there's plants in Alabama, and there's plants in Quebec. There isn't a plant here in Maine. So one of the things we really want to make sure is, can we create an industry here in Maine for mass timber? We have the infrastructure, Millinocket, Rumford, these areas. Maine is the most forested state in the entire country with 90% of its land covered in woods. Is there a way we can start the economic engine of Maine, revitalize these communities that have not had woods and timber industries in them, and really jumpstart economic at a grand scale? We believe this project can do that.
From the artistic side, the museum has always had absolutely incredible exhibits. What do you think the campus unification will allow you to do that you haven't been able to do in the past?
It's a great question. So starting about 10 years ago, we started seeing double-digit increases in our attendance. So 10% one year, 13% another, and so on and so forth. In 2019, just before the pandemic, we had a record-breaking year with almost 180,000 people visiting the museum. Our current campus and the Payson building specifically was designed for 60,000, 70,000 people as a whole. So we're already at 2 times, 3 times the capacity of our campus. We just don't have space. So unfortunately what that means is pulling back on the kind of exhibitions we can show, the kinds of programs we can have at the museum, the kind of events we can host here in Portland for our communities. Simultaneously, this region has really grown exponentially. So we want to make sure that we can meet our communities and have the kind of programs and exhibitions that they expect and are looking for. And also, what our communities look for at a museum have changed rapidly. Gone are the days of that stuffy, staid museum. Don't touch, quiet, shh. We're not that kind of place. Nor is that sustainable for us or our communities. We need to make sure that we're creating dynamic spaces, accessible spaces, free spaces for our communities to engage with art on their terms. You don't have to be an art expert to enjoy the PMA. I'm certainly not an art expert and I work there. So really just trying to make sure that everyone feels that they belong and has a place at the museum.
Well, Graham, the Portland Museum of Art has always been such a cultural landmark and icon for our city, our region, our state, internationally. We're so excited to see what's yet to come, and it's been wonderful to have you here on the show, and I hope you will come back in the future to see us here.
Thanks for having us. We're certainly happy to come back.
Hi everyone, welcome to beautiful Kingfield, Maine, home to one of the 10 spring sources that support the iconic Poland Spring brand. My colleague Mark and I are delighted to have you visit with us today and showcase our commitment to water resource management.
Hi, I'm Mark Dubois. I'm a natural resource manager for Poland Spring. I'm a geologist by training, and I've been with the company 19 years. What I like most about my job is being outside, working with a natural resource. It's 100% renewable water resource here in Maine. We have plenty of water, especially this year, and that happens every year. We're managing and monitoring our water resources really closely to make sure that we're sustainable, and that's a big part of our business. We cannot withdraw aquifers down below levels of springs. We have to keep our springs flowing, and it's a great business model to bring jobs to the state of Maine.
Yeah, so this is spring 2 of about 5 springs that we have in Kingfield, and it's a boiling spring, so you can see some wood chips boiling at the bottom of it, and you also see some spring water coming off the side of the spring as well. So at this site, what we do is we withdraw water from a borehole, which is a well that's stationed close to the spring. So we're trying to intercept spring water before it comes out of the spring itself. Once that borehole pumps the water out of the ground in the aquifer right next to the spring, we use a pipeline, and that pipeline brings the water about 4 miles over to the factory in Kingfield, where it's actually bottled up for consumption. So Poland Spring uses 10 spring sites in Maine currently. We're always looking for new spring sites to keep up with future demand and growth. What we look for is usually about 100 feet of sand and gravel that's full of water, and it has to have a natural spring next to the site as well. So spring, good amount of sand and gravel, and you can withdraw water from an aquifer in that sense. You have to also match the taste profile, so we have a certain taste profile that our customers like, which is a low total dissolved solids in the water. And so we're trying to match that taste profile as we go to new sites as well. Kingfield passed our taste profile back in 2005, and it's been a factory here in Kingfield since 2010. So beyond finding a spring site, we have to conserve and protect our spring sites. So we protect over 6,000 acres in Maine. We try to buy land right over the aquifer so that we can protect the land uses on top of the aquifer. And at the end of the day, all we have to do is wait for it to rain and snow, and that water naturally gets down into the ground, feeds these springs, and feeds the aquifers that we rely on every year. So it's a 100% renewable cycle. With Maine's rain and snow, we're plentiful amount of water, especially this year.
The best part of my job is when I get to go out to the spring sites with our natural resource managers. I love getting outside either the 4 walls of my office or the 4 walls of the factory and being able to really just see the beauty and nature that provides the beautiful Poland Spring product. Community is really at the heart of what we do. It really speaks to our core values as a company and showcases that it's not just the natural beauty of the location that we're sourcing from, it's really the community as a whole and the men and women that make up those communities. We're really appreciative of that support, and thus we give back through our giving programs. Last year alone, we donated 1 million bottles to support community causes, as well as $1 million to support some of those needs as well in our local communities. So the next time you pick up a bottle of Poland Spring off the shelf, just remember the hardworking men and women behind the bottle and the beautiful source that you toured today.
Women in positions of power have never been out of the ordinary in Maine. From Margaret Chase Smith representing Maine and Washington from 1940 to 1973, to Maine having 2 women serving together in the U.S. Senate, to our current female governor. There's also a growing number of women occupying the C-suite in companies across the state. This week, the Maine Historical Society and Maine Memory Network remind us that in 1925, Maine had the largest per capita membership in the National Federation of Business and Professional Women. In fact, the National Convention was held in Portland, Maine. More than 2,000 women came from BPW clubs around the country, most arriving at the Grand Trunk Railroad Station on India Street in Portland for 6 days in July of 1925. Founded July of 1919, the BPW's mission was to develop women's leadership potential and advocate for women in the workplace. During the convention, a large clam bake was held for the delegates on Peaks Island in Casco Bay. More than 2,000 people attended the event. The guests enjoyed Maine seafood and learned how to eat a lobster. Delegates also had an outing to Old Orchard Beach. The day at the seaside resort town included dancing at the Palace Ballroom and enjoying local attractions, including the Caterpillar ride at Palace Playland. Today, the Maine BPW Futurama Foundation maintains a scholarship program for young women, and in 1990 established the Maine Women's Hall of Fame.
We'll be back with more right after this message from Poland Spring.
Water connects us all. As a company that relies on nature, we take responsibility to help conserve it. Our team of experts sustainably source water from carefully selected springs, monitored and managed to help support Maine's future, continuing the legacy of one of Maine's oldest brands for this generation and those to come. Poland Spring, 100% natural spring water.
One of the leading advertising and marketing firms in the state is run by one of the best known leaders in the state. Meredith Strang Burgess, president and CEO of Burgess Advertising and Marketing, has led her company since its founding more than 37 years ago. She's also a former state legislator and a tireless advocate and fundraiser for cancer awareness, prevention, and research. Meredith, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So having been in business for about 37 years, you've clearly seen some ups and downs. So what would you say has been your biggest challenge throughout your career?
I think the biggest challenge, frankly, is making it through those ups and downs. You know, the goal that we've always had is to be consistent and steady as you go. I never had wild aspirations to be the largest, the biggest, take over the world from Portland. But you know, Maine's a beautiful place and we have some amazing companies right here. So for the most part, we've worked with the companies in pretty much northern New England because we like to have that relationship. But you know, the challenges are the economy. And also it's been interesting because being in business for, a few years now, that you know, the companies get born here, they grow, and then they evolve. In a lot of cases, we had a number of clients in a certain period of time that were all acquired by somebody bigger that took over their marketing. So we lost that business. So then you have to kind of go back and find that next tier of business. So that's been, I think, just seeing these cycles. And yes, it's all true. Everything we were told about our clothes and everything comes back. It just goes around. And what we learn along the way is relationships really matter.
So as an entrepreneur, you have clearly given a lot of yourself to your business. You've also given a lot of your time and energy outside of your business. You've served in the state legislature. You do so much around cancer awareness. Why is it that you feel compelled to give so much of yourself in so many different capacities back to the state of Maine?
That's a great question. My family would like to know the answer of that too, as well. I think the biggest thing about being in Maine is that we are a community and you have that relationship. So I was raised in Camden, Maine, and my dad was in the Rotary, and the Rotary was, for that particular time and place, was everything. They did everything in the town. And the big thing growing up as a kiddo, you know, the people bring the kids along, we used to collect newspapers, which was a really big deal. Like, people would save their newspapers for a whole year, and then we would get a trailer truck in the middle of town, and they would go around to people's homes and we would collect people's newspapers. And of course that was the beginning of recycling in those days, but they actually got paid. People would take these trailer loads of newspapers. Anyway, that's certainly, it's how you are brought up, I think, is a big, big piece of this, and how you see your community and how it works, and how it's just critical to do that. So it's just inborn and ingrained in me. And it's also, I think I have a curiosity of just wanting to help and learn. I think the legislative piece was just the most fascinating thing. Initially, I wanted to run screaming from the room. And then it was like, okay, Meredith, calm down here, and starting to understand how it works. It's a little painful, the process and the timing of things, but it's really fascinating because you're right in the middle of the room where it happens.
Meredith, thank you so much for joining us today. I have known you for a long time in many different capacities, and I just want to thank you for all that you've given to the state, whether it's your business, your legislative service, or your commitment to bringing about cancer awareness to everybody. So thank you for coming today, and I hope you'll join us again.
Thank you. This has been fun.
That's it for this week's edition of the Maine Business Show. Our thanks once again to WEX for hosting us and to all of our guests. We hope you learned something new about Maine business and that you'll join us again. I'm Quincy Hentzel. See you next time.